experience. From tours and classes to family programs and art after hours with cocktails and performances, there's something for everyone. The Barnes. See art differently. Tickets at barnesfoundation.org.
WOL Washington, D.C. W240DJ Washington. 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda. WKYS HD3 Washington. WPRS HD3 Waldorf and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The topics, views, and opinions expressed on the air and via All Igniting Change with Barbara Arnwine, platforms by host Barbara Arnwine Esquire, guests, and supporters are their own and are independent of any organization, entity. Nothing said on the show or any of its platforms constitutes a client-attorney relationship or serves as legal advice counsel. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to Igniting Change, its platforms, or the show's host. It's time for Igniting Change, a weekly provocative and empowering program where you, the listener, can ignite change. Now here's your host, Barbara Arnwine.
Get up, stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Igniting Change. Oh, my goodness. It's a wonderful time for us to be having this show. We want to welcome all of our listeners throughout the country, from those in the West Coast, those in the mighty South, those in the good old Midwest, and not even talk about Northeast and all over the country. Thank you for listening to us. We got a great show for you today because we're going to be talking about celebrating the people's electoral victory from last Tuesday. Key lessons from the November 7th, 2023 elections. Oh, there's so much to talk about. We got a broad swath of issues to cover, and we're going to also be talking about the incredible power, leadership of the young people from Lincoln University who went up to the State House in Harrisburg and said, no more, you must fund us equally with the white schools. And they won. They appear to be winning this battle. So we're going to hear from them, a number of those leaders, because they were from the TJC, what we call fellows that we helped to train over these many years, and they're going to tell you about the good work they've done. So there's a lot on this show, but in order to get started, you know I must bring up my co-host, the mighty chair of the Transformative Justice Coalition, one of the best lawyers in our nation. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Daryl D. Jones. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Barbara, it must be Tuesday, it must be noon Eastern Standard Time, because we're talking about igniting change here on WOL. Barbara, it is such an exciting day. It's been such an exciting week. We went, we partied, we did lines, we did line dances, we had music, we had food, and we encouraged people to vote throughout Ohio and Kentucky. We even earlier went to Virginia and did some stuff. And, you know, it's really exciting, Barbara, to see the numbers of people that were coming out to participate in our democracy, to exercise that right to vote. They were coming from everywhere in Ohio, everywhere in Kentucky, to be certain they got a chance to exercise that right to vote. And, Barbara, you know, that in the second part of what we get into when we're talking about our TJC fellows, or as we simply call them, our family, our TJC family that's over at Lincoln University, and what they accomplished, what they did, what they set out to do. What an exciting show we have, Barbara.
Oh, yes, and I can't wait to get into it. Let me reintroduce to you, because they have been our guests for different shows, and we are so grateful to these leaders who invited us into Kentucky so that we could partner together to do the right thing, to help those voters, and who invited us, you know, into this work. So I am so happy to introduce the first guest is Priscilla Johnson. And Priscilla Johnson is an amazing leader. She is the public relations person at the Kentucky Black Caucus of local elected officials. Now, you know the Black Caucus got to do it. They got to be out there on this front line of making sure our people can vote. Hi, Priscilla Johnson. Welcome to Igniting Change.
I'm sorry, I was on mute there. Good afternoon, Barbara. Good afternoon, Daryl. Happy Tuesday, a Tuesday after election of November the 7th here in Kentucky. Thank you. Yes.
Game-changing election. And I have also to introduce Raoul Cunningham. You know Raoul, president of the Louisville branch of the NAACP, doing everything he can to make sure because when it comes to one of the national members of the NAACP Board of Directors. And I just really want to thank you, Raoul. Welcome to Igniting Change.
Well, thank you for having me, Barbara. It was a pleasure having you in Kentucky.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Within, 1 hour of landing and getting dropping my bags quickly off at the hotel, I was in your office talking with you and meeting, so many of your mighty, colleagues and just, talking about how we were going to do what we were planning to do and how to make sure it was excellent. And you were awesome. And I want to, start off with the first question to the two of you. And it's, what were, in your opinions, as you look at this election, this game-changing, nationally celebrated election, what were the highlights for you of that whole election cycle? What role in the victory, as people are calling it, I call it a people's victory, what role did Black voters play?
Well, good afternoon, Barbara and Daryl. I'll go first. Raoul, my apologies. Here in Lexington, I will have to say that folks was just really excited. They were excited, one, because it was election time, and they were excited that they had early voting. They started early voting 3 days before, and which was outstanding. Folks really was excited because the Saturday voting they were able to do, and some of them were talking that, having to work and all and getting off, and the polling places closed at 4:30 for early voting, but on the day of election, they closed at 6. So I think that was really the most exciting thing here in Lexington, outside of having that John R. Lewis bus parked in Lexington. I mean, folks was just so excited to see the bus and then to see the bus come through the city of Lexington. So I think that really encouraged people to really get out and vote. And I can't say nothing but thank Transformative for Justice for that, because that alone ignited change in Lexington. They were like, these folks are for real. They really out there on the ground, making sure folks vote. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for your leadership and all that amazing planning you did. And Raoul, what do you think? What were the highlights for you? What role did Black voters play?
Black voters played an important role in the turnout.
Yes. Tell us more.
And the excitement that Transformative Justice Coalition imparted on the citizens of Louisville. One, with the press conference that we had and the excitement in the room among the press. The coverage was excellent. Every news outlet in Kentucky, in Louisville, was there.
Yes.
They played, and the bus brought unmeasurable excitement. We toured the city of Louisville. We went to Simmons College. We went to the Kentucky African American Heritage Center, and people were voting. Now, you were with us on Thursday, the first day of early voting.
Yes.
And we carried that excitement through the 3 days of early voting and Election Day.
Well, it was amazing. And Daryl, I know that I don't want to overshadow. I know you have some questions you must ask. Go ahead.
Well, Barbara, I'm just sitting here as both President Cunningham and Ms. Johnson are talking about what happened there in Louisville and what happened in Lexington. I'm just smiling because, I'm just reliving just an excellent time that we had over there. Ms. Johnson, I got to ask you, you were over there and you were taping up cars and getting people ready, getting stuff lined up, and then you got up to the press conference that we had there in Lexington, and you had an unknown thing that happened. Whitaker decided to sing. Can you share with us that moment that Whitaker is singing? You've got the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and everyone else that's there, the Kentuckians in front of the John Lewis sign, the bus that's there. What was that feeling like for you, Mr.
Daryl, I have to say that our president, Whitaker, he honestly had me all in awe. I could not believe it when he just, started singing, but it was such a wonderful moment. I think it just really ignited him to just start singing, because of just the excitement, and to know that the media, every press conference that was done before TCJ came to Lexington, the media was just in full forces. And then when you all arrived, I think every local channel was there. And I think our president, Whitaker, just got so excited, he just had to let it loose. And he did that by singing. And of course, you have to say he does have a wonderful voice. And the excitement was just there. And we're hoping and praying that you all will consider Kentucky again. I was at the airport the other day, and one of our local leaders says, I wish you could probably talk to the Transformative for Justice to see if they can come back to Kentucky in 2024. So I will say that the excitement was there, and we just, we're still smiling too, Daryl. So thank you very much.
Well, we our plan, our hope is to be there for sure in 2024. And I can tell you, everybody who's listening, we had 15 young freedom riders. They were amazing between the ages of 18 and 30, and they were fantastic. And they were so moved by the NAACP headquarters and being there. They were so moved by the Lexington press conference also. They just, and hearing Whit's singing, it just meant the world to them. And they will never rest until, we're back in Kentucky again. And I just thought it was wonderful that so many people showed up to help with the get out the vote. Folks, if you're thinking about who you're going to be in 2024, this is one thing we all want to say to you. Be a voting rights champion. Right, Raoul?
Yes, ma'am.
And the same, Priscilla, right? We want everybody to be
absolutely.
A voting rights champion. And
that's
so,
exactly right.
Yes, not only do you want to make sure that you vote, but you want to make sure that you're ensuring others are voting. You want to get out there, make sure people know it's time to vote. It's so important. So we will be right back. We don't want anyone to touch that dial because we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk more about Kentucky. We're going to talk more about our amazing young Gen Z and young millennial fellows. We'll be right back. Don't you dare touch that dial. You know what time it is. It's called Igniting Change Time.
Talk 1450 WOL AM, where information is power.
Work zone in Bowie slows northbound 301 just north of 214 Central Avenue. Virginia Beltway expect delays.